Hello guys and welcome to What the Tech episode number 41. First and foremost, Happy New Year. My name is Adam Lobo.
And my name is Vernon. Fantastic to be back in a brand new year.
2026 baby. What's up, Vernon? So I heard you were playing pickleball until the break of dawn.
Yes, I was. And there were fireworks where I was playing. So that was quite cool.
Oh, that's interesting. So for
It's
me,
always the first time for anything.
for me, my fireworks was looking at my son talking to me. I tried to make him sleep, but he eventually slept only about 1 a.m.
It's hard to sleep with all the fireworks and the noise.
I mean, usually I would get excited seeing the fireworks. This time I could just hear it because I was just looking at my son and my son is like, okay, non-stop. Anyways, no complaint. I love being a dad. I wish I could be a full-time dad, but
You can.
we all need to make money.
That's true too.
Yes. And my wife's ultimate dream is to be a tai-tai. So I guess she's
No
already
option
achieving
there.
that.
There's no
option for me. Anyways, guys, thank you so much for tuning in. It is episode number 41, which is exciting because I remember when we started off the whole entire podcast, we didn't have Abang Vernon first and foremost, but eventually we had it, and then we have occasionally brought in Jason Smash Pop, we brought in Uma Nashbandi, we brought in Syed. So hopefully, moving forward, we might have more guests as well. And like I said, beginning of 2026, we'll be having Syed, who's behind the scenes right now doing the switching. He will also kind of produce the podcast, and he will get some advisory updates from Abang Vernon as well to make it a bit more interesting. Now, this week was a little slow in terms of the tech news. Obviously, naturally, because it's early of the year. But of course, besides the tech news, we might be doing different things every single week. So stay tuned for that. Now, the title, as you clicked on this particular video, whether or not you're the first time or you're coming back from your holidays, is that Xiaomi is going Ultra and Honor is copying Apple again.
Where's the honor in that?
I have no idea. Honor. Okay, before that, let's talk about the devices first and foremost, because before the end of the year, we released a video about the OPPO Find X9 Pro. Now, some of them were not very happy with the review because they were, I wouldn't say OPPO fans, but there were people who still felt that there was no proper justification comparing it with any other cameras. And I did throw in the Xiaomi 15 Ultra. I did throw in, meaning like comparing and mentioning the iPhone 17 Pro Max and of course the Vivo X300 Pro. So there were two questions which I asked in that particular video. The first question was whether or not you guys think that this is the best smartphone camera as claimed by MKBHD. Many said yes, because they agreed with MKBHD, which is fine. But another thing which I ask is that whether or not a lot of people want to see, or whether you want to see a comparison between the Vivo X300 Pro. Vernon, you are one of the people who wanted to also find out and wanted to compare. Before I go further, why did you want to see that? Did you find that the camera samples that the OPPO provided wasn't obvious that the Vivo was better or worse?
I guess I wanted to see a little more full-fledged and a little bit more in detail.
Yeah.
I've seen some photos. I think both of them are great. But obviously, there are differences and sometimes very nuanced.
Yeah.
So a proper review and comparison would be, really, really good and will iron some things out.
Yeah.
Whether or not they're great in low light.
Yes.
Are they good in zoom? Are they good in details? What about color science?
Yeah.
I mean, those little nuances also depends on a person and what their preferences are.
Exactly.
So I think that video will be very, very helpful for people maybe kind of on the fence on deciding whether to go OPPO or Vivo.
That's a very good justification. So what we have done is that, yes, there is a 19-minute video comparison video coming tomorrow, if you guys are watching this, between the Vivo X300 Pro and the OPPO Find X9 Pro. Now, I am going to tell you all what's good and what's not good about each areas. But of course, you will need to watch the video for you to get a proper context of that. Now, one thing which I really need to mention is that when I did a review of the X9 Pro, my initial thought was that, it's the same camera specs because it's under the same company, right? It is the same camera specs, but the difference is the focal length of the main cameras, which is 23 and 24, if I'm not mistaken, if I can remember correctly. And also the optical focal length on the Vivo is 3.5 times and the OPPO is 3 times. So even though the numbers of the 50 megapixels is the same, but the aperture value and also the focal length is different. So that is when I was like, okay, now it kind of makes sense why we're going to do a comparison video. Now, like I said, when you watch this on Saturday, the video will be out tomorrow, which is on Sunday. But overall, the camera quality, both are great, right? They have the proper flagship quality camera. The ultra wide, the main camera, the portrait, and even video up to 10 times zoom has been great. So if you're just shooting casually, you won't see a big difference between the both. What's Of course, the obvious difference is that the Hasselblad is showing its color signs a little, but Vivo is more on the Zeiss optics, and image processing comes specifically from the MediaTek chipset. The consistency in daylight has been great for the ultra-wide and the main lenses. Exposure, dynamic range, and sharpness are very similar. Of course, Vivo's image processing makes it just a little more vibrant or saturated. Okay. That is something which is obvious as well. In terms of portrait versatility, OPPO is slightly better because it has a 135mm, so it all really looks like a proper lens.
Nice bokeh.
Yeah, nice bokeh, and also the idea of really punching in to really give the nice like subject or background blur is really good. So they do have the extra focal length, but OPPO has in between focal length as well, which is very interesting for you all to see. Now, stabilization are different when it comes to the different lenses because both are stable, but OPPO does better on the ultra wide video stabilization for some strange reason, but Vivo comes back better on the stabilization for the 2x zoom onwards. And then night photography, the low light main cameras and the ultra wide shots are great. Highlights and shadows are overall exposed good. Now, when it comes to what not so good about each one of the phones, first and foremost is the color consistency. Whenever there's a zoom, because OPPO can zoom up to 120 times compared to Vivo 100 times, but sometimes when you hit 100 times, the color shift is quite obvious, and the
surprising, but
the AI which they want to sharpen the photos can be quite extreme. So you can kind of see some weird artifacts like lines where did not even exist. But this is, of course, if you're zooming more than 100 times now, which I don't think anybody's doing that. So neither is wrong, but you can actually see the difference in the image processing. And then if you're zooming beyond 10 times, that's where you can see a difference. Otherwise, means it's the same. But there was a weird quirk for OPPO. Now, during our previous video, with this guy named Chi Man, I remember he said that because I was mentioning about how when you zoom in, from 2 times to 3 times, there's a color shift. Yeah. There's a white balance shift. So the guy said that make sure I turn on the white balance on video. So if you go into the settings, there is this one, lock white balance. You can see it over here. Okay. So I'm sure you guys can see it. So what was weird is that, for example, if I were to put this here, okay, I'm sure you guys can see it, but I just want to say this. So now if I were to put a video and if I change it from 2 to 3 times, there is no color shift, right? But if I were to press record, yeah.
As that happens.
Yeah.
I guess it's a software issue.
Exactly, because it's not the same when it comes to Vivo. Now, just to give you all context, what happens is that even though if you lock the white balance, it's not a huge issue, but it's still an issue that is worth talking about.
If there is obvious change.
Because what happens is that, in case you all did not see the video review of the OPPO Find X9 Pro, is that when you switch lenses between the 2 times to the 3 times, because it's going to the optical, it's going to the telephoto lens. So that's why I thought, okay, because it's a huge leap, right? From 50 megapixel to 200 megapixel. So probably that's why. But that's the same leap on the Vivo X300 Pro. And while it shows before recording, it looks okay. But when you press record, it's not the case. So that was annoying. At the same time, it won't bother everybody, but that's our job, right? To help you make a purchase decision on what should be better. OPPO has better ultra-wide night video quality. That one I knew because the Vivo's ultra-wide night is horrendous. I compared it with the iPhone. It's my 3rd time really reviewing the camera, so I kind of know what is good and what is not so good. But there's this weird jittery look when you pan the OPPO as well. So yeah, I mean, Of course, Abang Vernon haven't even watched the video yet, but this is the overall context of that. So it's an almost 19-minute video comparison. I hope you enjoy the video when it's out, and I hope you guys also watch it. But we also want to know, after doing this particular comparison video, which is so freaking hard to do, number one, because our Malaysian weather is amazing.
Yeah.
Number two, I don't know what you're going to call this annoying. So like if you go into the portrait mode for each, right? So it shows 1, 2, 3. Okay. But here's the problem. When you go to 1, you tend to forget that if you press one more time,
It goes to 0.5.
it goes to, yeah. So I had to test every single focal length. So sometimes I forget. Then if you go 2 times, there's a 47 mm.
And there's a 5.
And no, don't have.
Okay.
So it's like, then you go on the 3 times, there's a 70 mm, and then there's a 85 mm.
Yeah.
So for people who are not aware of that, like people who just wants a camera to point and shoot, they might not know that this focal length even exists, right? So for the Vivo, for example, has a similar case, but at least it clearly shows here. 24, 35, 50, 85 and 135. Yeah. So you kind of know that this is their best. But if you want to readjust it accordingly, so 24 you cannot touch, 35 you cannot touch, 50 you cannot. So it is a bit more straightforward, so people can kind of understand, this is the exact focal length. And that's my biggest argument on why I think that from a software perspective, Vivo has done it better when it comes to OPPO as well. So yeah, video is coming out tomorrow. So yeah, stay tuned for that. And I hope you guys enjoyed the video as well. Okay, I've talked a lot. Let Abang introduce the very first tech news roundup, and that is the Xiaomi 17 Ultra, which is launched in China. Give us a lowdown on that, Abang.
Yeah, so this is kind of like a little bit of a surprise, I think. Xiaomi 17 Ultra, as you mentioned, launched in China, not just a spec bump. It's literally, like a flagship, proper flagship, with really big focus on camera, which is not a surprise. There's also a Leica edition where it comes with a mechanical zoom ring. I don't know if you actually use it on a phone.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that's part of the gimmick. It is a physical rotating dial around the camera module. And the question is whether this is actually practical or just a little novelty that would sell the product. So the cameras, it comes with a 15 megapixel, and I think the big thing, the big draw would be the 1-inch light master sensor.
Yep.
1-inch sensor on a phone, although it's not the first one to have it, it's a good thing. Bigger sensors mean more light, more details, which is good. And the star of the show is the 200 megapixel periscope telephoto. Yep. And this is absolutely massive sensor for a zoom lens. We're talking about 4.3x of optical zoom, which is great.
Yeah.
Optical is always better. And no surprise, that it comes with the flagship Snapdragon 8 Elite Gen 5 and a pretty big battery, 6,800 milliampere hour.
Yeah, at this point in time, we are going crazy numbers.
Yes, and it's only 8.29 millimeters thick, pretty acceptable. And I think it's the thinnest Ultra Xiaomi has ever made.
This could be because of the battery size, because last year's Ultra, they didn't have the silicon carbon battery yet. So this could be the reason why it's thinner, because it doesn't make sense on why is it thinner this year around.
Correct. And in this display department, it's got a 6.9-inch LTPO AMOLED with the peak brightness of 3,500 nits.
Very bright.
It's flat, so no curves, thank God. So I think the question here is, with the Leica limited edition, where the mechanical ring is a functional thing for you, or what your opinion is whether it's a gimmick overall.
So you're asking me? You're asking me? Okay.
It also has a vegan back, which is nothing new, but
that's something which I kind of
nice tactile feel to it.
It depends. Like the idea of having the mechanical ring at the back reminds me of the Samsung's watches where you have the rotating bezels kind of way.
Yeah.
As long as there's a proper haptic feedback, I saw reviews online, and the problem is that it can be quite a fidget spinner, a toy,
so you put it on a table like that.
Yeah. So and it's also apparently quite shaky. So if you shake it, you're like. So some people may look at it as a bad thing. but the main thing is that you need to also kind of understand why it is there in the first place, because they just want to do something new, but it is appreciative that Xiaomi came up with something new, but I think this versus the POCO F8 Ultra having a speaker at the back, this feels a little more of a novelty. The reason why, because the camera grips zoom one is a million times better. So I don't know why they made the decision to do it. I don't not like it. I welcome change, but if they are gonna make something for the sake of just being different, unless you can really have a nice zoom way to properly adjust but zooming capabilities, because we haven't tried it.
Yeah.
Because one of the biggest problems that I have when I'm comparing like high zoom values of the phone is trying to get the exact, like for example, if I were to give you
like 2.3,
yes, exactly. So like for example, you like if you take the photo on the OPPO Find X9 Pro, now by default there is few options, right? There's 20, okay, there is 20, 30, 60, 120. Try going at 100. Imagine when I'm trying to do the comparison video, I'm like, it's hard, guys, so please. Okay, so here's the thing. So when I go here, like you just try to...
Can you tap the number?
No.
60? Like,
so you can type the 60, but you can't, if you want to go to 100...
If you want to go in between,
see, if I want to go to 100, it's tough. So unless that zoom ring can really give you minute adjustments, then it makes sense.
I doubt it. I mean, I think they're really trying hard to mimic an actual camera. And I mean, if this is to replace the point and shoots, which I don't think will happen, it's just the form factor of a phone where it's so slim, and you're trying to do this.
Yeah,
and it's not a substantially thick kind of bezel, right? For you to turn. So I think it's going to be so hard.
Yeah,
it's really easier to tap on the screen or use one of those haptic.
Yeah. And the thing is that besides the whole hardware thing, they have like some of the Leica colors, presets and all, which looks amazing. Like there's even one of the reviews where I saw where they did like a side-by-side with a proper Leica camera and also the Xiaomi 17 Ultra, and it looks very much similar. Like you wouldn't tell a difference. So from a software perspective and the image processing perspective, like I said, other than the Samsung S25 Ultra, the Xiaomi 15 Ultra was like the forgotten one, right? So we know that they're going to come up with good cameras. I guess Xiaomi was in a position of, okay, how can I make it a different, maybe something different, where something people can go like, oh, could be a gimmick or something they can use. Well, our first impressions is that we felt that it's not so much of a usable thing, but I guess we need to use and see how that is.
I mean, it looks good. The other big question is, do you find that the huge difference in terms of design language between the Pro Max, 17 Pro Max and the Pro and the Ultra, is that a problem?
That's a good point, because from an outsider's point of view, you wouldn't think that it belongs in the same family, because it looks totally different, right? Because so you have the 17 Pro and the 17 Pro Max with the screen at the back, and then suddenly out of nowhere you go back with last year's Ultra looking the same. You are totally right, because now it really it makes people confused. Because like imagine you go in the shop and you go like, okay, I want a bigger screen, I want a larger screen than that probably. But then again, the Pro Max is already a huge screen, but they should probably call it something else, I guess. But yeah, you're right though.
In a way, the Ultra looks a little bit dated.
Yes,
because the Pro Max is so different.
They shot themselves in the foot here, right? Because
the Pro Max was like a little bit of an oddball because it looks so different. I mean, it's good, but it looks so different. And it looks like it has a lot of innovation based on how it looks.
Yeah.
And then you have something like the Ultra where, it's more photocentric, but still looks a bit old. I don't know. It's a weird strategy.
Yeah.
And to launch it like right now in the beginning of 2026.
So, speaking of beginning of 2026 and speaking of the S25 Ultra, the S26 Ultra is coming soon. The rumors did not really point so much of a major change within the phone. But do you think that with this extra control and all can beat what Samsung is about to do with the S26 Ultra?
I don't know whether they can beat or not.
Yeah.
But ultimately, it's not going to be such a big difference because this is more a user experience rather than the results.
Yeah.
It's not gonna change the quality of the particular image that's going to be captured. And what comes out from the S26 remains to be seen. But I feel and I expect it to be fairly similar to S25.
Yeah.
Like
Okay. Because the thing is that I think when it comes to launches, history has properly proven that usually this Ultra will come out the same time about MWC, which is in the month of March or so. So probably global launch will be within that, but it's already released here. I mean, in China specifically, not here. But yeah, let us know your thoughts about the Xiaomi 17 Ultra. I almost hit 16 because it was 15. They decided to cut it. And also, please answer Vernon's question, whether or not do you feel that this particular idea of really totally separating how the Pro Max and the Ultra looks is a good idea and a good decision from Xiaomi? Is it because they come up with the whole Leica collaboration, so they decided to do something different, or is it confusing for consumers? Let us know in the comment section below, yeah? Okay, the second tech news is my favorite brand.
your favorite brand.
Which is the Honor Power 2. Honor has announced the Honor Power 2 in China, which is launching on the 5th of January.
Yeah, couple of days.
And they came up with some absolutely ridiculous specs, and they're actually calling it the power bank killer. Okay, bro.
Why would you compare a phone to a power bank?
I know, but here's the thing. Before that, as you can see in the title, we are talking about copying Apple, right? Just looking at the device itself, not only from a design perspective, but the color choice as well. They are not hiding the fact that they are choosing the same colorway, except for the black color variant, which looks good, to be completely honest, but there's an orange color. Why couldn't you choose purple? Why couldn't you choose green? But you had to choose the same orange just for the sake of trying to copy Apple. I know some people may say that, Samsung came out with an orange color phone before that and all. But again, it all comes down to who releases what recently. And it's not the first time that they copied. There was also the other phone, which is the Honor 500 Pro, which has looks like an iPhone Air, but it has two cameras.
Right.
So it's not the first time they've done it. Look, if Honor wants to steal Huawei's design, that's understandable, even though they claim they are separate companies. But I think something's going on in between. Usually Honor always copies what Huawei done like 3 years ago. Then they call it new. But this time around, they're going towards another direction to really copying the design. So before we talk about the specs, give me your personal thoughts, because whatever I said coming out from my mouth, it's going to sound like I'm being a hater. So from a neutral standpoint, what are your thoughts about Honor, like completely almost ripping off Apple's look, design, and overall marketing style per se?
I mean, from the very beginning, Honor has always copied Apple. It was always an imitation thing, follow what the competition is doing. And it's always been an aspirational brand. So whoever wants to own an Apple but either cannot afford it or don't want to use iOS, then you've got an option of using an Android device that looks and feels like an Apple device or an iPhone.
But credit where it's due. I feel
They
like
copy well?
Credit when it's due. I would talk about not the regular devices. I think their Fold was actually quite good. They were one of the first few fellas who came up with a very thin foldable with a very less crease. And I do know a lot of people who eventually bought the Honor foldable compared to the Samsung. So while they were doing a good job from the foldable standpoint, but I don't know why are they just continuing doing this for the other phones.
Again, it's about imitation. So, and some people dig that.
Yeah.
Without the price on your pocket.
Yeah.
And I mean, looking at specs, it is quite impressive. And there's no harm in looking like an iPhone if it looks good.
Yeah.
Everything from the design to the colorway. When I first saw it, I was like, "Oh, okay, they're doing it again."
Yeah, they're doing it again.
But what can we say? It's not a new thing for Honor. So.
Exactly.
And not only Honor, but a lot of other brands do that too, copy Apple.
So that you did say about the specs is quite crazy. Of course, the main highlight was the fact is that the Honor Power 2 has a massive 10,080 milliamps of silicon carbon battery. What are your thoughts about that? And how is your reaction to that?
I mean, it's crazy to go beyond even 6,000, 7,000, 8,000. It's already a feat. But now with silicon carbon technology, exceeding 10,000 is amazing. But again, it is hardware enough. Whether the software is optimized for the entire experience, I don't know. But I would expect it to last at least 1-2 days based on hardware specs alone. Obviously, there's also rapid charging. So there's 80 watts of wired charging, which is fair.
It's decent.
Which is decent in the industry. Of course, the killer feature and something that they're trying to sell is your 27 watt reverse charging, which will help you save other iPhones. That are in danger of
save your tablet, which is like a moving power bank.
27 watts is pretty cool for reverse charging. I think that would be
that's quite
useful.
Good. Yeah.
So you don't have to carry a separate power bank with you. Just carry your Honor Power 2.
Carry a Power 2. It's even called a Power 2. Now, in terms of the other specs, the processor is using the MediaTek Dimensity 8500 Elite chipset, which is kind of a mid-range.
Why did they call it Elite?
Variant.
Very confusing.
I know. They are trying to sound like Snapdragon, I guess. I mean, so here's where I don't understand why brands do this. Like MediaTek was already doing very well on their own. They started being the budget king, and now they're doing very well with all the flagship phones like the OPPO and the vivos. I don't know why they're going to. It's like, why would you call your thing called Elite again just for the sake of sounding very close to Snapdragon? I have no idea. The display size is 6.79 inches, 1.5K LTPS AMOLED screen, 120 Hz, of course, by now. The design is a flat frame, very similar to the camera layout to the 17 Pro series. That's very obvious. Now, a lot of people, when I shared this, they said, "Oh, can you bring this on a plane?" But a lot of people do not know that on a plane, you can bring more than 10,000 milliamps of battery, right? As long as you don't charge it while using it. So I don't know why there's this idea of that, how can you bring it on a plane? You can even bring a normal 10,000 milliamps of battery. Right now is that it's on the phone. But of course, you should not charge it while on the flight, right? But your point here, which I like, is that battery life is always crucial, but is it everything? So give us your point about that.
Yeah, I mean, there's more to a phone than just battery life alone.
Yeah, because they named it Power 2. It's like that's their main thing that they just want to go all in upon. Forgetting the software, forgetting everything else, right? So how's the camera going to be since it looks like an iPhone, right?
I mean, you know that it's a mid-range device, so you can't expect too much in terms of even the camera department. But I mean, the main selling proposition here is battery life, and if you need a long life device, you can go for the Honor.
Yeah, and they also are selling. The selling point of this particular device is the fact that it weighs 216 grams, which is lighter than the iPhone 17 Pro Max.
Which is pretty impressive for the fact that it's a 10,000 milliampere device.
Because it's using silicon carbon battery, so that is kind of obvious, right? I mean, in the end of the day, if you're going to use silicon carbon battery, you can come up with how thin, so it doesn't matter.
Do you feel that is excessive though at 10,000 milliampere hour?
I always believe that size matters. That's what she said. I honestly welcome a huge battery life, like battery size, because the iPhone 17 Pro Max, one of the biggest reasons why I would say that if people want to upgrade from the 16 Pro Max to the 17 Pro Max would be the battery life, because the battery life on the iPhone 17 Pro Max, since October I've been using it, it's January, has been great. I at least get 1 day plus, right? And before going to sleep, I still find. So to me, big size battery does give a huge advantage. But like what you pointed out, for you to come up with a phone to specifically just call it a battery size king, not looking at the other areas, like what is whether or not is your camera is going to be good. Since your cameras look like an iPhone, is it going to be better? Yeah. So for me, I think having a big size battery is really great. But I didn't think that Honor is going to do it first, because based on side wrote few articles or so, we thought that Xiaomi is going to do this first. We thought Vivo is going to do this first, but Honor has done it first. But I think what they have done is that, again, it's a marketing style, is that they made it look like an iPhone, and then they put in 10,000 milliamps of battery, and then they are saying that, look, it looks like an iPhone, but you have crazy battery life.
Yeah.
So they wanted to make it look like an iPhone, at the same time to tell the people who's potentially getting an iPhone that, oh, look, we have 10,000 milliamps of battery.
Yeah. Sounds a little bit like a one-trick pony.
Yeah, exactly. But
just
do you
pinpoint
think
a weakness of an
but
iPhone?
We all know. Let me just ask you this: by them doing this marketing, are Apple users going to be like, oh, I better not buy an iPhone, I better not buy this?
Yeah, is it going to sway users? No,
I don't think so.
I feel they're just different target market segment.
Yeah, exactly.
And Honor buyers will not buy an iPhone. Or iPhones users will not buy an Honor.
Yeah. I mean, again, we are very welcoming the fact that it has a bigger size battery, but whether or not that is the only reason why you should get the phone, that is funny. But again, like I said, the reason why this is a headline, besides the battery life or the battery size, is the fact that it looks very similar to the iPhone 17 Pro series. Okay, for your segment, who asked for this? This is a very interesting one, because we had quite a slow. This technically is a little older news, which we didn't talk about it in our podcast since last week we were not around. We took a break. So tell us about this particular lowdown on your section today.
Sure. So we're all familiar with, the Nintendo DS.
Yeah.
Everybody's favorite. Well, in the old days anyway. Dual screen, clamshell, portable gaming device.
Yeah.
Right? So there's this Chinese company called One Netbook. They develop a lot of portable handheld.
Never heard before.
Never heard before until now, yes. But they previously launched OneXSugar, Sugar One, which is a dual screen handheld with detachable controllers. So it's almost like a cross between the Switch and also Nintendo DS.
So this is their second device?
No, they have multiple devices.
Oh, really? Oh, okay.
But the previous one had dual screens. So they're basically two screens put together. And you also have a detachable controller on the base. Right? The form factor is quite interesting. So the new one is a single screen that can be folded.
Madness.
So it's a first for them, and I think it's the first, probably first in the world as a gaming handheld that has a single screen. It's a 8.01 inch OLED. Why don't you just say 8 inch 8 inch OLED screen? It looks like a little chunky wallet. Very nice curves. I think it looks very good. Looks like it's very well made, and the screen has a 4:3 aspect ratio, which is very nice for retro gaming and TV consoles. So I think it really is marketed as a retro gaming device. So you're playing all the old games using emulation. I mean, we've all seen foldable phones, and this is like probably the first foldable dedicated gaming handheld device in the market today. It does have your traditional D-pad and analog sticks, and because it's a folding device and kind of like a touchscreen, there's also a crease, which is quite normal for folding.
Yep.
Yeah, but I think credit where credit is due. I think the design is very sleek.
Yep.
And do note that it runs Android, so it's actually not a PC gaming console. So things like the Steam Deck and the Asus ROG Ally and all that, they're not competitors to this. This is more for, I feel, for casual gamers who want to play emulation and old games. And the question is, would you pay $800 USD for a retro gaming device? I think that's a lot to ask for.
But because it runs on Android, it also means that it can run any devices, right? I mean, like any games, right? Because it's on Android.
Yes, that's true.
Yeah,
That's true.
so I like the idea of playing retro games because I still prefer retro games compared to current games. But yeah, 800 USD is very expensive.
They haven't released the price yet, but it's speculated that it's going to be around 800 USD. That's a lot of money.
Yeah, but I think if they didn't run Android and had their own software, then probably it can be a little more appealing. And besides bringing the price down, because if it's still an Android device, you know how Android is when it comes to a handheld kind of style. And people may ask, why don't I just use my phone? Why should I get an additional one? Yes, there is all the physical controls,
the D-pad and stuff.
but I think the rage quit test on this, don't know whether it can survive in the first place. Having a crease could be a deal breaker for some people.
And also durability.
Yes,
wise, right?
because remember, it's gaming. Like, it's not like your regular foldables from Samsung and Vivo and all who comes up with foldables. Because that one is like you're going to use a phone as a phone. Because it's because it's a foldable, you may have scratches on the screen from your fingernails, for example.
Yeah.
Like when you're moving about, or if you slip, if your hands are sweaty. So imagine like if you scratch, because we all know that foldable screens, you can just use your fingernail to scratch it. So I don't think that is rage quit proof.
Yeah.
And the ones who really do not know how to take care of the phone, you really need a baby this device. So what's the point that you come up with a foldable gaming handheld which is not robust?
Yeah.
Right? So,
I mean, but I think robust aside, I feel the form factor is something that what you want is a pocketable device that you can, carry around with you. You know how unwieldy things like the Steam Deck is.
yeah,
It's really quite huge.
yeah,
But something that you can actually fold and put in your
Fold.
pocket, which is nice.
okay.
Becomes like a everyday gaming device that you can bring with you. But yeah, the question is again, do you want to fork out $800 to just play retro games? Seems excessive to me.
Yeah. Okay, so who asked for this?
Not me. I didn't ask for it.
Okay. Said, did you ask for this? Okay.
Not like this.
Not
Okay,
like this.
Yeah. What are your
What if
thoughts?
it was 300 USD?
300 is
Because 300 USD for a foldable Android device, why not?
yeah.
Because it's still an Android device.
is it-
That's why I said, if it's not running on Android, if it's running on Steam OS, for example, right? If it's a different OS, means then it could be appealing. Because one of the things where, this is going off topic, I've been really doing research on smart displays recently because it's not a thing here in Malaysia, but it's a huge thing in UK and US. Now, smart displays, meaning like if you want to have like proper calendar management within families, because with my son being born, when he grow up, I want to come up with a way whereby like I want him to be less on the device, but one of the things I want to do is that I want to look at, there's two. One is called I forgot. One is called, I have it on Amazon. So yeah, I need to tell you all this. So, but it's one runs on Android and the other one does not run on Android, right? So basically it is a calendar or a smart display which you can just plug it on or you can just mount it on your wall, and then you can kind of have everything done. So there is two. One is called Cozilla.
Cozilla.
Yeah, Cozilla is a digital calendar which comes in together with Android inside, but there is a built-in software within that as well. Right. So it looks like a typical digital calendar, something like this. Okay. And then there's another one which is I forgot what's the other one called again. The other one is it's not here. Yeah, so there is smart digital calendars out there, right? So like this Cozilla and the other one, it's called Kaya. I cannot remember. It's called Calendar something. So it has its own software whereby like if you just said you do your chores, or your son, daughter does a chore, they have like a point system.
Right.
At the end of the day, yeah, it's like this is done. Oh, you clean up your bed, you wash the dishes. So
my dad used to do it on a piece of
there
paper.
you go. That's what I'm saying. So
On a piece
imagine
of
a
paper.
digital version of that. It's kind of cool because it's touchscreen. At the same time, because it's not Android, you cannot sway away from it. You won't go like, I want to watch YouTube instead, right? Because it has its own software per se.
Right.
So I think that That's my argument on why I think that it should not be an Android device.
I get what you mean, but there are actually a lot of devices that run on Android as a base, as a foundational thing.
Yes.
But the front end,
yes, I know
the
what you
UI
mean,
doesn't look like
Android. It doesn't look like Android. You cannot go Google Play Store.
No.
So this could be that it's running on Android, but probably there's no Google Play Store.
Yeah, I don't think there's a mention of Google Play Store. Maybe you probably cannot.
But based
do
on
that.
previous handhelds, because it's not the first one.
Yeah.
to have,
Exactly. It's not the first
Android,
one.
But some of them actually do.
They
run,
do, yeah.
And they're not the latest because they run their own kernels and everything.
Yeah, exactly.
So yeah, they do. They have Play stores, but at the same time, they also have their own dedicated stores.
Right. Got it.
It could be that.
Yeah, I guess the reason why it's 800 USD is because of the fact that, look, it is a folding device and that's about it.
The display probably costs a lot of money.
Yeah.
Right.
I think they're just trying to cover the cost here because other than that.
And also it's not a volume device, so they're not going to sell a lot of them.
Yeah.
So
correct.
I guess.
And also, I think you pointed out very nicely because like other handheld is the biggest issue is pocketability, right? Because the Steam Deck, the ROG Ally, or even the Nintendo Switch 2 is quite big, right? You can't like just fold it, put it in your pocket, fold it, put it in your bag. So I guess this could be something that a lot of people. I would love to see reviews on that and see how it is. I'm not a huge gamer, so I cannot be relating to this as much. But whether or not who asked for this, from my point of view, I didn't ask for this. But could be some gamers who just want to
Rich gamers.
Yeah, rich gamers or just wants to flashlight. It's like, hey, look, I've got this foldable screen device which can play retro games at the same time.
800 USD to play Contra.
Yeah.
Nice.
Ooh, nice. I miss playing Contra though.
Why not?
Yeah, exactly. Okay, as for the community segment, Syed has asked questions again. We are back again every Tuesday asking questions. This time the community segment Syed has come out with a question called for this. Do you guys use fast charging for your phones? How fast is yours? Let us know below in the comments. Now, there are 4 choices as usual because YouTube only gives us 4 choices. So do something about it, YouTube. The first one, the option is 18 watts or 25 watts. There's 65 watts, 100 watts, and one who says, I do not use fast charging. The highest vote, or actually we have a tie at this point in time, which is 18 watts / 25 watts or 100 watts.
Interesting.
Syed has voted for 65 watts. 6% I don't use fast charging. So before that, this is not about agreeing because this is a personal choice. So among all of this 4, which one would you choose?
Before that, I wanted to say that I triggered someone in the comments.
Oh, you did? I haven't even seen yet. Okay. Bro, there's 26 comments. I'm going to, wow, there's 26 comments.
My choice was 18 watt to 25 watt because I use iPhone. That's number 1. Number 2, I don't think fast charging is that crucial in my lifestyle.
Okay.
Right, because I charge it when I'm, at the end of the day, put it by my bedside, charge it till morning. It doesn't really matter if it's 18 watt, 25 watt, or 10 watt.
Yeah.
Occasionally, if I'm taking a lot of video, I have to charge it halfway in the day.
Yep.
Or, in my car, where you have a MagSafe and that's fine. It gets it charged up. So 65 watt is nice to have. 100 watt is excessive for me. But 25 watt works just as well in my daily life anyway.
That's interesting.
I think everyone's different.
There's like hell a lot of comments here. It's like 26
I triggered
comments.
people.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
No, it's good.
I'm sorry.
Thank you for triggering people. So your conclusion, your answer is?
Mine is 1825 watt.
1825 watts. Can you guess what's my answer?
65.
I don't use fast charging.
What?
I don't
How's
care.
that possible?
Because the iPhone 70 Pro Max's battery, or even the S25 Ultra's battery, or even the Vivo X300 Pro's battery, and the OPPO Find X9 Pro battery, the battery is so good that I don't have to worry about fast charging anyway.
Hey, but wait. what do you consider fast charging? 25 watt fast charging? It is fast charging, right?
No, in my books, when I
65.
review Android devices, I think the 45 watts would be just nice. Again, because I'm more of a Samsung user, because you can buy the 45 watts fast charging. But I
So that's
personally,
considered fast charging to you?
yeah, I mean,
25 is
I'm
not?
okay. 25 is still fast, but it's like, again, it comes down to whether I use it. I don't use fast charging. I don't care about fast charging because I prefer slow charging. I'm the other way around. Why? Because I
Do you charge it to
my
80% or 100%?
I put it on the iPhone to charge it to 80%.
Yeah, same.
And that's the reason. So I purposely, while you were looking through, I actually wanted to go through. My battery health is still at 100% capacity from October.
Mine's bad.
My cycle, of course, yours is like 15, right? 15 Pro Max, right?
15 Pro Max.
Yeah. So my cycle count is 83. And I have been only charging the phone via MagSafe on the Belkin charger when I sleep. How was your battery health?
It doesn't tell me, but it says service.
Oh my God. Okay. So the question is
78%.
Okay, 78, not bad.
No, it's
right?
bad.
Yeah.
80% under 1,000 cycles. That's bound for That's bound for service already. So
How much? Do you remember,
My
or do
cycle
you
count is
have an
785.
idea how much is it to change the battery?
I think 350, 500 bucks maybe.
USD.
No, Malaysian ringgit.
Huh? So cheap?
Yeah. You just send it to machines or something.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow, I better change the batteries of the older iPhones then.
Oh, I think I might be able to get a free change.
All right, that's good.
Because if it's below 80%, under 1,000 cycles,
Okay.
you can get it changed.
Okay. Now, going back into the
I don't
comments.
know why this phone is so bad though, to be honest. The 16 is much, much better in terms of battery.
But there is a huge difference.
14
in terms
is
of
the
17.
worst. I can tell you
Oh,
that.
yes, correct. The 14 is worst.
14
I remember
has a
Apit
bit
was
of a
using it.
hardware
Yeah.
issue with battery.
So, yeah, my conclusion is that I don't use fast charging because I put the phone charging just before I go to sleep, because as long as it can last me a day, I'm totally fine. I don't care about fast charging, but some people do care. Let us check out the comments. We have Riftus87. If it comes with 120 watts, I use 120 watts. On car, I use the Xiaomi 100 watts. No more power banks ever again. Oh, so Xiaomi has 100 watts on the car. There's a charger. Oh, do you know that? I had no idea. Wow.
Really? I didn't know
I
that.
didn't know that either, to be honest.
Can the car produce that much of a...
Oh, you mean those
Yeah.
cigarette charge? Yes, 100 watts. Yes.
100 watts.
There is?
You can charge
Wow.
laptops even. Yeah.
Wow, I was
Okay, I
2
thought it
years
was
old.
like 60, 65 watts.
No, there is
there's
a,
I was thought it was even lower.
there is 100 watt. Yeah.
100 watts. Xiaomi, of course it's Xiaomi.
Of course.
Uncle Thumb, what's up, brother? It seems like the black digger is not here, so Uncle Thumb is always back here. So
Maybe it's his,
oh yeah, he's here. Oh my God, he's here.
He is?
Yeah. Okay. I accidentally scrolled down. Let's start with Synaptic Monarch. 67 watts is the sweetest spot, and then
67
somebody says
Sounds like an iPhone user.
67 is the best. Xiaomi Gen Alpha Brain Rot. Wow, so much hate.
Gen Alpha brand.
So much hate. Another user, Sparkplug Baron, says, I use 90 watts occasionally on my Xiaomi 15.
Okay.
Good choice. Xiaomi 15, one of my favorite phones last year. Dave SSM, he says 45 watts. I guess he's a Samsung user. Usually when you see the 45 watts, you know that exact number, you know is a Samsung user. But I agree. I would say 45 watts is just nice anyway.
So I know 67 watts is like a Mac user.
Or a
MacBook
Xiaomi user. Yeah, correct.
67
Mike
watts. Very precise.
Mike Zessars says, I use 67 watts on my Redmi Note 11e Pro. Wow. Good job, man. From 2022. I remember I reviewed it. Still blazing fast and strong battery performance. That's interesting. If I could get my hands on that, I would love to test that thing out. 33 watts of gun charger. Well, I agree with the gun charger. So here's the thing.
Gun charger is good.
The Samsung Galaxy Tab S11 Ultra does not come with a charger. I had to go and buy a Belkin charger. I asked Sai to help me look in the box. It doesn't come with it. So I had a choice to buy Samsung's 45 watts or I buy a Belkin gun charger. Of course, you all know which one I went with. Yeah. And on top of that, the Belkin gun charger comes with 3 USB-C ports. And what I did is that because I was using that as my smart display, like I say, I'm trying to look into that, and I put a smart plug, put it connected there, and then I do it like between 4 to 5 o'clock, it turns on, and between 10 to 11 o'clock, it turns on, so that like it's always on at the same time, the battery doesn't die. So yeah, gun charger, FTW. Sweeter son, from the vote, you can tell what phones the audience uses. Exactly. That's why I say, Syed, good job.
It's a trick question.
Yeah, it's a very good trick question. That's why I say, come out with more questions like this, because you look at the amount of comments, which is absolutely spot on. Right? Except he didn't put a 45 watts. Did he put a 45 watts?
No.
Oh, yeah. Daniel Arctic says 45 watts. There you go. Samsung user. Anish Date says 80 watts. I do have 100 watts dual port OnePlus charger. Ooh, I remember that. Which supports Type-C with Super VOOC. The best thing I bought this year. I used the OPPO Find X9. See, like I said, a lot of friends of OPPO users. It takes 65 minutes from 0 to 100 for 7025 milliamps of battery. Imagine how long it will take for a 10,000 milliamps of battery with 80 watts or 100 watts. We might need at least 160 watts charger now. Yeah, but it depends lah. If you have such a huge of a battery, I don't really think so. But yeah, thank you so much for your feedback. Ahmad Saad says 120 watt, confirmed Xiaomi user. Nash Day says, I use a 100 watt charger, but my Samsung can only hit 45 watts max speed. Lamau. True? That's true. But it's better than having lower than 45 watts either way. Windows Vista user. What a name. I charge at 65 watts, but my tablet can only take 15 watts. 15 watts. That's why I love this community tab more. If we can do like a whole podcast episode with just your comments, it will be lovely. That's why I said this is what gives us more excited, gets us more excited than the freaking tech news, which is getting so boring. Obi-Wan Kenobi, 80 watts. Okay. Oyen says 67 watts.
iPhone user.
Antinor says 80 watts, and then he puts a laughing emoji there. Maybe because he decided to put like somewhere in between. The Black Digger is back. Welcome back. Happy New Year, brother. Where the hell did you disappear to? But anyway, the Black Digger is like me. I'm not a fan of this crazy charging speeds.
Yeah.
I'm fine with just 18 watts, especially since I charge mostly at the end of the day, so I can take my time. Oh my God. You're like my clone, bro. That's why I said, we are inviting you to come here, you don't want to come. Huh? Good job, because you sound exactly like me. Because for me, it's the same. I just put it on on a standby, and I just, it's done. I put it to red and I'm done. Rifter says that if it comes with 100 hours, so this one I went through. Uncle Tam, welcome back, Uncle. 90 watts, no option, so I press 100 watts. Oh, because what to do? YouTube only got 4 options, so it's okay. 45 watts on Samsung from Rian. Then Ma 11, 45 watts, Xiaomi Pad 7, 120 watts, Xiaomi 14T Pro. Oh, I like how you list down your devices as well. Good, nice. GX Delord is also back. Welcome back, buddy. 18 watts and 25 watts is still my favorite sweet spot. I didn't find more higher charging speed to be a must. I agree. There are 2 replies here. One is from Zaf. You might be using an iPhone. Oh, iPhone hater is here. Of course, you don't need that amount of power to charge your iPhone using your primitive Apple charging brick. Wow. So much hate, bro.
What about mine?
Yeah. It's coming soon. Ahmad Saud says 67 watt is a sweet spot, I think.
Also, iPhone user.
Why so much hate?
Okay, reveal.
Vernon Chan says those answering anything less than 25 watts must be using iPhone. My deepest sympathies.
And then read the reply. I triggered some people.
So what? iPhones are way is an Android user. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, then is that it burns, doesn't it? Yes, exactly. So yeah, that's a very, very interesting point. So yeah.
I think he's insinuating that I'm an Android user.
Yes,
well, actually,
exactly. Yeah, it's actually kind of...
I use both, bro. But yeah.
So
I'm realistic.
Thank you guys so
and
much
honest.
for the amazing votes. At this point in time, we still do have the 18/25 watts and the 100 watts to be level at 32%. I am one of those who do not use fast charging, which apparently is one of the least, which is 6%, which is Mila. So that is how it is.
Technically, you don't have a choice because everything is pretty much fast charging nowadays.
Yeah.
Right?
And I think it comes down to whether or not, honestly, it comes down to whether or not your phone can last at least a day.
Yeah.
because, and then like I'm out there to look for slower charging, but if it's not slower charging, I try to avoid wired charging as much as I can, right? So I prefer fast wireless charging more than fast wired charging, because at least
issues?
Heat issues for me, it's fine because I never come to a point whereby I was charging a phone wirelessly where it really became too hot. At the same time, I don't know, I think it's a psychological thing whereby when I charge wirelessly, I feel like, okay lah, it's not like putting too much of current into the phone. Yes, it does generate more heat, but it does limit the amount of current because it's going through wirelessly. So whenever I had a chance to just do it wirelessly, I just do it on MagSafe instead. And even like you can just get like a case with a MagSafe, and you can do it with any other phones as well. So I'm not out there to look for a very fast wired charging, but I would welcome fast wireless charging. So yes, that is the amazing community segment. Thank you very much once again for those of you who voted and commented over here. Very entertaining. So Syed, come out with similar questions like this. Very good. And again, guys, we'll be asking this community segment every single Tuesday. So the next Tuesday, and then we'll discuss it in our podcast session on Saturday as well. So with that, we'd like to close our this week's episode. In terms of the video releases, as mentioned earlier, if you're watching this on a Saturday, tomorrow we'll be releasing our comparison video to start the year of the OPPO Find X9 Pro versus the Vivo X300 Pro comparison. There's going to be also coming up soon, which is a video review of Huawei's latest tablet, which is the Huawei MatePad 12X. That is also something coming really soon. And there are also a couple of other videos also coming really soon. One explainer video and another video which is on embargo, so we can't even say that. Anyways, we'd like to say thank you guys so much for joining us for episode number 41. Happy New Year once again. My name is Adam Lobo.
My name is Vernon. See you in the next one.
Bye-bye.